I always loved handheld gaming. There's something magical about being able to game everywhere, without depending on an external screen and power source. Portability always came with a downside though. The power of a handheld system is significantly downgraded. Also, input methods are simplified. There aren't as many buttons on a handheld system. Not enough to play my favorite games. For example, first-person shooters and action adventures. So, when the PSvita was introduced in 2012, I was very excited about the possibility to finally play a first-person shooter properly on a handheld. In retrospect though, only a few shooters were released, and none of them were regarded as very good games. Especially not the highly awaited Resistance Burning Skies. This is strange. So, I played this game to find out why. To understand the Resistance games, you must know a bit about the backstory. These games take place in an alternate history, in which there were no world wars, and in which the superpowers, Russia and the US, have been isolating themselves. Their isolation policies did prevent the war, but it didn't prevent an alien life form to invade, the Chimera. The game takes place August 14th, 1951, 1 month after the liberation of the United Kingdom. The Chimera invaded the east coast of the United States. New York fireman Tom Riley is caught in the middle of the conflict. In spite of the fact that he fights the Chimera, he only has one desire, and that's to find and rescue his family, who's caught in the middle of the invasion. And how is Tom fighting these huge aliens? Well, in the beginning he only has a fire axe, but later on he finds all kinds of guns. One of the great things about the Resistance games are the weapons, and Burning Skies isn't an exception here. You even find upgrade cubes to make your weapons more powerful and add additional functions. Every weapon has a secondary function, which is activated by tapping on the screen. Also, grenades and the fire axe are activated this way. The action controls are smooth with 2 sticks, although you can feel that there are some concessions made. More about this later. When I first booted up Burning Skies, I was really impressed about the graphics. They are large and in their own way very detailed. But also here some concessions are made. There are only 6 levels, and even though they are detailed, they are not very interactive at all. My biggest problem with the graphics though is the color. Every level has an orange/sepia filter over it, which make them kind of blend together. So the graphics look great on the handheld. I must say though, they fall a bit flat when played on the PS TV. It looks blocky in a way that you don't really notice on the Vita screen. This might well be the prettiest first-person shooter for the handheld though, with an exception maybe of Killzone. On the other hand, there are no concessions made in the sound department. There is full-on voice acting, which is done pretty decently. And the music is the epic kind, that I usually don't really like, but in this game it fits. Oof, this is going to be so hard. There are so many good and bad points that are valid from different kinds of views. So let me start you to remind you this is a game from 2012. And that my view is from 2019. Okay, here we go. Coming back to the limitations I was talking about earlier. And there are a lot. Apart from the length, which is just 6 levels and that is very short, the game isn't very precise. And this is actually a problem for a first-person shooter. There is an auto-aim, and this one works really well, but Burning Skies doesn't rely on you being a sharpshooter. Another thing that you mostly notice when you start playing this game on the PS TV is that it is full of touch buttons, and they fill your screen in a way that is aesthetically not so nice. The D-pad isn't really used though, and I think there should be more options to assign buttons. In my opinion though, the biggest problem with this game are the loading times and the checkpoints. This game relies for a great deal on old-fashioned checkpoints. I mean, you can save, but then you save your stats at that checkpoint. I had many times that I had to quit playing in the middle of a level, and when I wanted to resume, I almost had to start from the beginning. These levels are pretty long, and I can imagine that there are more people on the go who have to quit and resume halfway. And then, when you restart the level, you have to sit through the whole introduction all over again. These introductions are done nicely, but they take way too long. After seeing the same intro for more than 10 times, I just put my Vita away and start to do something else for a bit. I don't think this is what the developers had in mind. All in all, I really do not understand why Resistance Burning Skies had such bad reviews. Of course, this game is not perfect, far from it. There are many flaws and omissions that games that came out around the same times on the consoles did better. The graphics are too brown and blocky, the game is short, and the checkpoint system is annoying. On the other hand, this is a first-person shooter on a handheld, one that plays fine. This is rare, and this alone makes Resistance Burning Skies worth at least a playthrough. So, I recommend Resistance Burning Skies if you have a PSvita, and if you crave for a first-person shooter. And if you do not mind to play something that feels like an older game than it actually is. You'll enjoy it. So, this is my review for Resistance Burning Skies, the first-person shooter on the PSvita. What do you think of it? Are you going to give it a try? Well, let me know, comment and share on this video if you like the content I'm making, and have a great day. Bye bye!